Misery. When your number Misery. When your number one fan becomes your worst nightmare. Part 1. Introduction. The Sweet Trap. Imagine this. You are a world-famous novelist. You've just finished your latest book and decide to celebrate, but a freak snowstorm causes a catastrophic car accident on a deserted mountain road. You wake up, shattered and broken, only to find you've been rescued by your number one fan. At first, it sounds like a miracle, a fairy tale ending to a brush with death. But for Paul Sheldon, this is the exact moment his living hell begins. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are exploring Misery, the masterpiece that solidified Stephen King as the king of psychological suspense. In this story, there are no supernatural clowns, no haunted hotels, and no psychic powers. There is only a locked room, a typewriter, 2 shattered legs, and a woman whose love is more lethal than any monster. Let's dive into why Misery remains a titan of the thriller genre. Part 2. The core plot. Writing to survive. 1. Savior or captor? Paul Sheldon is the creator of the wildly successful Misery Chastain romance series. He's tired of the character and has just killed her off in his final book to pursue serious literature. After his crash, he is taken in by Annie Wilkes, a former nurse who claims to be his biggest fan. However, when Annie buys the latest book and discovers that her beloved Misery is dead, the mask of the kind nurse slips, revealing a volatile, dangerous obsession. 2. The Wrath of Annie Wilkes. Annie cannot accept the death of her idol. She burns Paul's serious new manuscript, the only copy in existence, and forces him to burn it himself. She cuts him off from the outside world, keeps him drugged on high-dose painkillers, and delivers an ultimatum. He must write a new novel, Misery's Return, to bring the character back to life. Paul realizes he isn't a patient recovering in a home. He is a literary slave. 3. Visceral torture. So, one of the most infamous moments in literary and cinematic history occurs when Annie realizes Paul has been sneaking out of his room while she was away. To ensure he never tries to leave again, she performs what she calls the hobbling. In the book, this involves an axe and a blowtorch. In the movie, a sledgehammer. The allure of the story lies in this suffocating psychological tug-of-war between a physically depleted writer and a captor whose moods change like the wind. 4. The Battle of Wits. Paul must use his only weapon, his storytelling ability, to keep Annie satisfied and delay his execution. Every page he writes buys him another day of life. He begins to see the typewriter not just as a tool of his trade, but as a weapon of resistance. Part 3. Artistic highlights. Fear in close-up. Why is Misery so uniquely terrifying? It's the claustrophobia. King limits the entire world to a single house, and often a single bed. You feel every ounce of Paul's agony, his addiction to the medicine Annie feeds him, and the absolute hopelessness of being trapped by a person who is completely unplugged from reality. Annie Wilkes is one of the greatest villains ever created because she truly believes she is the hero. She acts in the name of love and decency. There is also a fascinating meta layer here. Paul is forced to write a book he hates to save his life. This is a bitter metaphor for how creators often feel like prisoners to their audience's expectations. King masterfully explores the dark side of fame, where the people who celebrate you the most are the ones who feel they own you. Part 4. Reflection. The Radius of Obsession. The deepest takeaway from this book is that toxic fandom is a form of shackles. Interestingly, Stephen King has stated that he wrote Misery while battling his own drug addictions. Annie Wilkes is a personification of the drug, something that numbs your pain and takes care of you, but also mutilates you and demands everything you have until you are nothing but a shell. The story forces us to ask, when we love a piece of art or a celebrity too much, do we start to destroy the very thing we love? Paul Sheldon's survival isn't just a physical victory, it's an intellectual one. It proves that even when the body is broken and the spirit is tortured, the human will to be free and the power of the mind can overcome the most deranged obstacles. Part 5. Conclusion. Beware the compliments. Misery is an unforgettable experience. It's a cold reminder that the most profound darkness doesn't always hide in the shadows. Sometimes it smiles at you and offers you a bowl of soup. Thank you for watching this review of every writer's worst nightmare. Do you think you would have the mental strength to survive Annie Wilkes? And if you've seen the movie, do you prefer the book's darker ending or the cinematic version? Let's talk about it in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay tuned for more deep dives into the terrifying world of Stephen King. Until next time, stay safe and remember, sometimes your #1 fan is the last person you want to meet.